I am at my machine and I have started to set up the first pattern of many that I'm going to be using for this quilt. And I've got it set up in the sizes that I want. I've entered in the quilt width and the quilt length for this section of the quilt. And I'm going to show you a little bit where I'm going to be quilting. I'm going to be quilting in the gray area. Initially, I thought I would use something called Pattern Eclipse to not sew in the red stripes and sew something special just in those narrow red stripes, but it's taken me too long to fix the patterns. And because that strip is only 1 inch big, I decided that might take longer than I really want to now put into the rest of this quilt. So I've changed my mind and I'm not going to do that. But what I am going to do is, if you can see where the panel is here, here's a border with corners, and the panel is in the center here. And my design has me where this first pattern will be in the gray area only. And so I will use something called the Eclipse feature that will mark out where that red boundary is for the border and corner. It is going to mark out that boundary, but first I have to set it up, which I have done. I'm back. What I have done is finished the first zone for this pattern, and I have a few jump stitch, not many jump stitches. Those are those blue lines, but you can see that there are a couple partial patterns. I did my math very carefully, and I knew that the way that I spaced it out, that I would have some complete patterns and some halfway patterns of that block right there by mathing out how big the whole blocks are. So I used Eclipse for this area in my quilt right here. So the hearts are going to fill this area through here, and this is close to the end of my zone. The end of my zone is probably around right here. It will have some whole blocks in this gray section, but there will be some half hearts or half blocks all the way here, and then it will go back to some full blocks for the rest of that section. QCT starts where it's going to start the pattern, or picks where it's going to start the pattern, and it did in fact start closer to the end of the zone, and it's going to work its way back up. And as you see, it's not going to sew into the red area. It's going to stay in the gray area, right like that. So now it has gone over this area, and I just wanted to show you that you see the red basting stitch right there. Normally, I would take that out before I stitched, but this quilt relies so much on math for all the patterns to fit correctly and for my lines to remain straight that I am going to chance it, and I am going to take those out after I stitch. Now, I could end up regretting that, but that, you live and learn, and I think this is what I think will work best for this particular quilt, but you just never know. I'll let you know in the end. I finished this section with Pattern Eclipse, and now, without moving my fabric, I'm going to use this section, and I'm going to use the keep in function right there at Pattern Eclipse.